The sons of Sean P. Diddy Combs arrive in court on a day of dramatic testimony from a witness known as victim number 4.
This may have been the most harrowing and some of the most consequential testimony of the entire trial so far.
She began to tell the story of her nightmare, a nightmare that she says she could not escape.
Her attorney says she did not want to testify and had hoped that she could take what happened to her grave.
Mia kept her eyes cast down. For most of her testimony, the jury saw nothing but the part in her hair on the top of her head.
Tonight, explosive testimony rocks the high-profile trial of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. In a dramatic Manhattan courtroom scene, a second accuser, a former assistant identified only as Mia, has taken the stand with startling allegations. Prosecutors say Combs forced her into a life of 24/7 servitude.
Now, when asked to describe the work environment, she testified it was both chaotic and also toxic.
She shared explosive testimony about drug use violence and claims the music mogul sexually assaulted her.
She said that Combs repeatedly physically assaulted her, sexually assaulted her, and even raped her.
And she remembered waking up to the weight of him on her, and he forced himself inside her.
It was a cycle of highs and lows, unequal and equal, toxic, I'd say abusive, like it was abusive towards her. She was screaming for help and saying, "You gotta help me, he's gonna kill me."
He would fire me and ruin my future and somehow twist the story into making me look like a threat.
Combs, who denies all charges, faces new scrutiny as Mia paints a picture of constant control and violence. Today was day 12 of the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Prosecutors called their second witness, a former assistant calling herself Mia, to protect her identity. The judge reminded jurors that using a pseudonym does not change the weight of her testimony. Mia told the court she worked for Combs for years in a chaotic, toxic environment. She referred to Combs as Puff, a nickname he used earlier in his career. Mia said she spent virtually every waking moment by Combs' side. Under questioning, she explained, "I would stay wherever Puff was." When asked if she could ever leave his home without permission, she replied, "No, I wasn't allowed. I had to ask Puff for permission." Once, late at night, she slipped out to meet friends, only to have Combs' security track her down. The jury heard that Mia was never even allowed to lock her bedroom door. "No," she said, quoting Puff, "this is my house and no one locks the doors." She noted grimly that this rule didn't apply to the male bodyguards, who did have deadbolts and keypad locks. Mia described a relentless work schedule. Every day she had to be attached to her BlackBerry, anticipating Combs' every whim. "Every single day is different," she told the court. "There can be 17,000 things at one time." Duties ranged from mundane tasks, doing his taxes, to absurd ones, writing his next movie. In court, she said Combs could even have her stand silently by his side for 24 hours and not ask you to do one thing. The idea was to be ready to leap into action at a moment's notice. In fact, Mia's first day on the job was a grueling marathon. She related to prosecutors that Combs had a trial period for new hires. "On her first day, I ended up working through the night until 1 p.m. the following day." When asked how much sleep she got in those first 24 hours, she replied flatly, "I didn't." Mia explained that every day felt like a constant challenge, and the long hours took a toll. She eventually required prescription stimulants just to function around the clock. Even more shocking, Mia testified that the longest stretch she ever went without sleep was 5 days straight. "We were traveling. There was always things going on," she said. After about 5 days, her body finally broke down. Mia told jurors she literally felt as if "I was underwater," her hearing failing and mind fading. Only then did Combs relent and allow her to sleep. Prosecutors emphasized how absurdly this resembled a challenge, not a job. One she said felt like how it is in Combs' world. Beyond the grueling hours, Mia described a climate of fear. Under direct examination, she said that if Combs was displeased, he would humiliate her at will. "There was a lot of getting humiliated, my intelligence insulted, and my job threatened," she told the court. She described entire periods, even a year, as insane to endure. The jury heard that she had to walk on eggshells daily. Even basic comforts were denied. No lock on her room, no break from Combs's sight, no liberty to leave. Mia painted a picture of Combs as volatile and dangerous. Puff's mood determined the environment, she said, recounting how he threw things at me, threw me against the wall, threw me in the pool. She testified that he physically attacked her. And then, in the gravest moments of her testimony, she disclosed the worst. Combs allegedly sexually assaulted her. When prosecutors asked if this was one incident or more, Mia said simply, "More than one occasion." In other words, she is accusing him of repeated sexual violence. Every detail of Mia's testimony underscored how completely Combs controlled her, where she slept, how much she rested, what she did every minute of each day. The jury sat in hushed silence as Mia testified to this pressure cooker life. Throughout, Combs maintained a stoic expression. His lawyer at times furrowed his brow or rolled his eyes, but mostly he listened. On the other side of the courtroom, Combs's defense attorney, Xavier Donaldson, worked to cast doubt. Earlier, under cross-examination of other witnesses, he had shown he would challenge the accusers. Today, even during breaks, the judge admonished Donaldson for slow pacing and insisted the trial move along. Donaldson spent part of the morning questioning Deontay Nash, a celebrity stylist and longtime friend of Cassie, Combs's ex-girlfriend and the first accuser. Nash's own testimony from previous days had been largely sympathetic to Cassie. Under cross, Donaldson tried to point out gaps and suggest bias. For example, he asked Nash about a bizarre New Year's Eve 2016 incident in Las Vegas. Cassie, then on a trip with Nash and Combs, had hinted she planned to meet a stranger for a one-night encounter. Donaldson pressed Nash, "Your reaction was a sigh?" Nash answered calmly, "Yes." "You didn't say, 'What are you doing, girl?'" Nash said he did not because, as he explained, "No, I was exhausted." Nash shrugged off the incident, while Donaldson pressed every detail to imply the gossip may have floated around. Earlier, Donaldson questioned Nash about Cassie's bruises and freak-off parties, the salacious episodes Cassie alleged under oath. Nash confirmed he saw a FaceTime video of Cassie with a black eye after one of these incidents. "I saw it in person," he explained, meaning Cassie later appeared publicly with a healed bruise. His testimony recalled one shocking claim Cassie had made, that Combs recorded private sexual encounters with escorts. Nash said he had originally warned Cassie in 2013 that such tapes existed. He reiterated that when Combs's lawyer showed him a video of Cassie injured, "I saw it in person. When her makeup wears off, you can see it." However, he admitted the only time he ever explicitly confronted Cassie about these plans was in 2013, telling her to be careful, not to New York. When Judge Aaron Subramanian observed Donaldson's slow cross, he grew impatient. The judge told him to wrap it up after noticing time dragging. The tension underscored that the defense is fighting vigorously on all fronts to keep doubt alive. Donaldson has questioned the credibility of both Mia and Cassie, and even insinuated they might have colluded. But on the stand today, Mia insisted she and Cassie are simply friends. "We became like sisters, best friends," she said. Mia noted they stay in touch today. She also explained that she was directed to help Combs keep tabs on Cassie. He would send her off on errands under the guise of assisting Cassie, but really to report back on Cassie's activities. The defense has tried other strategies behind the scenes. This week, Combs's lawyers unsuccessfully moved to declare a mistrial over allegations that some evidence was destroyed by the police. The judge refused, allowing the trial to continue. Meanwhile, outside the witness chair, there have been more twists. A podcast host claimed Mia told her years ago that Combs assaulted her, a revelation fueling press coverage. In court, Combs's team is also calling witnesses of their own, including a former detective who cited inconsistencies. Publicly, this trial has garnered massive attention. Fans and foes of Combs are debating every detail online. Meanwhile, on the stand, we also saw glimpses of emotion. When Nash testified about Cassie's struggles, he sometimes became exasperated, at one point visibly annoyed by prosecutorial questions about Combs's past. In contrast, Mia remained composed but resolute. After her most damning allegations, the courtroom fell silent. only the reporter's pen scratching filled the air. With Mia's testimony still unfolding, the defense will likely try to impeach her credibility during cross-examination. Any inconsistency could sway jurors. Combs's attorneys will press that Mia allegedly accepted money from Cassie's legal team, a claim they mentioned outside the court today. Mia denied any bribe. But for now, prosecutors have at least laid out a harrowing narrative of life in Combs's orbit. Outside the court, Cassie, the first accuser, remains under intense media spotlight. Even this week, she gave birth to her third child just 2 weeks after testifying, a personal note that highlights the high stakes for her. Sources say Combs's camp denies Mia's accusations outright, calling the trial a coordinated attack. But inside the courtroom, the judge has warned jurors to focus solely on the evidence presented. The takeaway from today's session: Mia's chilling testimony added another layer to a saga full of allegations. We heard about sleepless 24/7 servitude, relentless control, and repeated abuse. Quotes from the trial linger. Puff's mood determined the environment. He threw things at me. Threw me in the pool, Mia said. And importantly, more than one occasion, when describing Combs's sexual assaults. These words will reverberate as the trial continues. Confronted with such claims, Diddy's defense will hammer on inconsistencies and motive. But tonight's live updates show prosecutors have stacked evidence, survivor testimony, videos, and witness accounts to make jurors pause. Is it enough? The trial presses on.